Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'm here to welcome you to episode number 20 and a half. This time we are going to do the doodle that goes around the mystic topaz that we did in episode 20. If you'd like to see how to do that mystic topaz right away, go click the iCard. If you want to stick around and do the doodle first, please do the doodle first. Let's get started on that right now. Here we are. This is our mystic topaz that we did in the last episode. And I was thinking about what I could do that would be a little bit more detailed and that would be something that you could customize to whatever you wanted to do. And I came up with that as my idea of what I want to do. It's not going to be exactly like this one because my doodles are never exactly the same, even if I draw up a study or a sample first. I know that I'm going to I want 3 little angel children, or fairy children, depends however you want to look at it. I want 3 kids. And they don't have to have wings. They don't have to have long, robes. Mine happen to be in these sort of cone-shaped robes just because they're easier to doodle in. And you don't have to do quite so much fiddling around. So we're going to start off here. And I am using a pencil to start off. And I'm going to get sort of an egg shape up here for the taller one, the tallest person. Then I'm going to have a second one that's going to be over on my right hand, over here. And then I want a littler one over here. Kind of like if you had 3 kids or something. I have 3 nieces. It might be those. It might be them. Now I'm going to draw a sort of a triangle shape coming down, and about 1/2 inch up from the bottom is where of my card is where I'm going to have my little stopping point, the ground that these little guys are going to be standing on. And then I'm going to do a kind of the same sort of thing, a cone shape. These are sort of like clothespin dolls, I guess is what you could think of, or peg dolls, where they have just the very basic round head and a basic cone shape coming off of it, like this. Kind of fun that way. Let me get that out of the way. Easy. Anybody can do that. Now, this particular one, the taller one, I'm going to actually give her a neck. So all I did was come down about 1/8 of an inch, and I drew a straight line across, and then made 2 little neck lines. That way, now she's got some little shoulders, sort of. But I'm going to take it out just a little bit farther on either side of that line. And that's giving her the tops of her arms. We're not going to see her hands. Not going to see her hands. They're behind the heart. It's almost like there's a handle or something on the back of the heart and she's holding it up. But now the little front people, I am going to draw a parentheses and a straight line and a straight line, and then a little line underneath. How's that? So that's like their little arm is reaching out and holding on to the bottom edge of the heart there. I'm going to do the other side of the parentheses on this one, and a line coming across. I'm not quite touching the heart with that line. And then another line coming across, and then a little line underneath. And that's like that little guy's hand is holding on to it too. I think this little guy's shoulder is back a little bit farther though. And I am drawing darker so that you can see it. I would generally not be drawing this that dark. But just for getting these adjusted so that we can see what we're doing, I think I will draw darker for you. And now I want to go ahead and put the hair in on this one. Now the hair is going to start about 1/8 of an inch up above his head. This is going to be the little boy, I think. And I'm just going to do this kind of wild and crazy, sort of a wild and crazy mop of hair coming down. And it's actually going to come down across the face a little bit. Kind of across the face a little bit, and then there. And I'm going to erase out some of those lines to make it easier for you to see. And now his face isn't quite face-shaped right now. It's still just sort of an egg. So I'm just going to make a little scoopy in and then a scoop around. It's very, very basic. They're not going to have a lot of definition. Just an impression of a shape to the face. Looks kind of like a bean. Kind of like a little bean face. Now the second one here, this little girl, her hair again is going to start about 1/8 of an inch above the head. She's going to have her little bangs come down, her little hair come this way. And to start off with, I am just going to do like that. I want to erase out some of these lines so you're going to be able to see. And she's going to have a little pigtail. So I'm going to put a circle. And coming off that circle, I'm going to give her a cute little pigtail. Which is just drawing basically an S shape on that side. Long, skinny S. And then on the other side, it's a backward C. Yeah, it's a backward C. And now her little body isn't quite thick enough. So I'm just going to thicken that up just a little bit. Right there. And you see her little ponytail went right across her shoulder. And now I want her to have a little bit more of a shape to her face. Give her just a little bit of a chin, just like that. But I'm going to bring her jaw up just a little bit. There we go. And now the biggest one here, again, her hair is going to be starting a little bit above her head. But I'm going to give her a slightly lopsided hair, I think. It's going to come out like this and down in front of her shoulder. It's going to come across her face and up. And then the other side is going to come across. And I think it's going to go behind her shoulder, just to make it a little bit different. And she's going to have more of a pointy chin. They're not getting any other features on their faces. I want that side of her head to be a little bit rounder. There we go. And now we'll take out those inside lines. And this is doodling. It is doodling. It might seem a little bit more involved, but it's not. Because if you notice, it's really basic lines. Basic lines. I want the back of his little robe to go a little bit bigger too, I think. A little bit longer. Maybe the front to come out just a little bit more. You can adjust. You can adjust. You're not stuck with anything. Nice thing about doodling. And now that's all I'm going to do with the pencil. I'm going to go ahead and grab the pen and ink this in now. We're going to ink it pretty fast. I'm not a slave to the pencil lines. Not a slave to pencil lines. If I didn't like a line, I can just adjust. I can just adjust. You don't ever have to be stuck with what you did to come up with your idea. These were just ideas. They're not permanently written in stone. Not written in stone. I like that when we're doodling like this, we have flexibility. Flexibility. Look at that. All right, she is already doodled in. Well, let's get this little sweetie pie in. Her hair is a little bit wild and crazy. It's escaping her ponytail some. It has escaped the ponytail. There we go. I want to give her a little bit more. Her hands are really big, aren't they? It's okay. It's a doodle. It's a doodle. And we're having fun. At least I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. Are you having fun? Let me know in the comments below if you're having fun. Let me know if you like this type of a doodle. Let me know if you like having two parts to the doodle gems, because that gives me the opportunity to learn what it is that you guys want to do. All right, so now I am going to just start filling in with some patterns and doing my doodles, because you know I like to do the doodles. So she's going to get this kind of, I don't know, sort of a flower design, I think. Sort of a little flower design. This is different than my sketch because it can be. We're not stuck with anything. We're not stuck. And let's give her sort of petals going across her shoulder this way. There we go. Petal, petal, petal. And then I think I want to give her maybe some circles over here. And some circles over here. See, these are just doodles. We're just filling in with patterns. We're not worried about it. I like that. I think she's going to get a couple big leaves up here. Couple big leaves. Look at that. And then I think the other petals are going to go onto her dress that way, onto her sleeve. How's that? Oh, I'm liking that a lot. What do you think? It's fun to do these kinds of doodles. Giving yourself an easy design to draw doodles into. That's all I did. Gave you some easy shapes to draw your doodles. And I'm going to rotate this just a little bit. I think that this one is going to have some little triangle, maybe some little cone type shapes. Some little triangle-y cones or chocolate kisses or, oh, what could these shapes be? These shapes can be lots of different things. And we're going to give them, she could have candy corns going around her dress. Look at that. See, changed into candy corn. Changed into candy corn. And then, let's see, maybe a stripe. And then maybe she's got some little triangles going the other direction. But these aren't candy corn. These are just little triangles with circle dots in the middle of them. Look at that. All right. And then, maybe she's going to have a checkerboard coming around. She's got a bit of a checkerboard going. And maybe that checkerboard actually has little squares in the corners. Little squares in the corners, which is just a 90-degree angle line. So it's coming out and down. It's just going out and down and stopping at the line right below it, starting at the line and going sideways, and then stopping at the line going down. It's amazing how intricate a pattern can look when you just do it one little idea at a time. And now I'm going to rotate her upside down because it's easier to pull a line than it is to push a line. I'm going from the corner of that little triangle, that little square in the corner, to the corner of the square that it's in and connecting those two. Just connecting them. Because that's going to give me another space. And then I'm going to do some lines just on that one side. Let's hold that paper down so it doesn't bounce. Line, 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 line. And by doing it this way, look at that. Looks like she's got places going in on that. I want to put dots in this space here, just to sort of give it a background. See, this is nothing scary. Nothing hard. I want to go back and see, sometimes you see spaces that you need to put something. So like I see a space right there, I want to put something. You can go back. Just because you think you're done at a spot doesn't mean that you can't go back if you think of something afterwards. And let's see. She's going to have just a whole bunch of little bubble dots. Just little bubbles in the rest of the top of her dress or top of her garment. And I think she's going to have stripes on her sleeve though. See? How easy. Well, she's all filled in now. Look at that. All right, so now what am I going to do with him? What am I going to do with this little guy? This little guy. Okay, he is going to have... He's going to have a lightning bolt coming down his sleeve. Look at that. Lightning bolt. And maybe another one. And that's just a zigzag line. 2 zigzag lines side by side. And then there's going to be a little part of one right there. And then I think he's going to have maybe a cloud shape. And these are your typical puffy clouds. Your puffy clouds. Just a puffy cloud. Even though he has lightning bolts on his sleeve, he has puffy clouds. And I think he's going to have a bit of a shape coming out from behind that cloud. Sort of a circle shape. They could have multiple rings around it. And when it's colored in, can decide what those rings are. Is this the moon? Is this the sun? It's something you could decide later. Now he's going to have, I think he's got a mountain on the bottom of his too. See, you're not stuck with just doing non-representational doodles. I think that if you want to do a doodle that's got the idea of something real, go forth and doodle something real. But if you notice, it's very abstract because it's a doodle and I'm not doing anything super detailed about it. I'm not making it look like it's a real thing. I'm making it look like it's just a sketchy drawing. But there is the doodle. And I have had some people say that they would hang out if I colored. So I am going to go ahead and take them up on that. If you don't want to watch me color, that's fine. You don't have to stick around and watch me color. But I am going to color. But before it's colored, that's what my little doodle looks like. And I hope you like that. If you do the doodle or the gem or both of them, share it with me. There's a Facebook group. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest. All of that information is down below in the description box. First off, I've got yellow ochre. And this one here, she is going to get a very blonde, yellowy, ochre hair. Now, I am not going to be doing a super detailed, smooth coloring like you would get in I'm not going to do a super smooth, detailed coloring. There's going to be a little bit of shading. There's going to be a little bit of shading in here, not a lot. There's going to be a little bit of variation in colors, but again, not a whole lot. This is just coloring in, basically making my own coloring page and coloring in. I'm going to use the canary yellow and warm this up just a little bit. Warm up her hair just a little bit in a couple spots. Warming it up. There we go. And I have the light umber. I'm going to use that for the shadows inside. That would be the underneath of her hair. And a little bit of shadowing here and there. Little shadow. Making it look a little more hair-like. But again, I'm not too worried about making this look real. This is more just to do a little bit of coloring. Just a bit of coloring. If you want to see me do more coloring, let me know. If you would like me to not do so much coloring, let me know that too. I'm okay either way. This is sort of an experiment to see if you guys like this. And the first drawing that I had done, my sketch, if people want it, I can put it up on my blog or on a link from my blog. So that you can take it and just color. You can color it. I just ask that you share if you do color, just because. All right, and now these little ones, I think are going to be more yellowy haired. These little kittles are going to have brighter yellowy hair. And then I'm probably going to use the yellow ochre more to do the shadowing. And again, this is basic coloring. This is not detailed. This is just easy going. Kind of like if you were sitting there with your kids, or if you're sitting there and babysitting, if you're young, or if you're sitting there and coloring with your cousins or anyone like that. It's just easy coloring. Nothing too detailed. I won't put I will take the doodling out of their little bodies in the coloring page maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it. They're fairly basic doodles. They're not the same doodles. Different doodles. If you download it, and if you know how to do it, you can take it into a editing program, and you can erase out. Take it into an editing program, and you can make a copy of it, erase out the doodles, and then make it so that you can, after you've printed it, you can draw on it and doodle. And use my design just as a little, like an outline to doodle in, to make it a little less scary. If you print it out on cardstock, You could even draw your doodle gem right into it. See? Now I'm just taking that yellow ochre over the top of that canary yellow that I used for their hair, for the little kittle's hair. And I'm just sort of giving it a bit of definition, but nothing big. Think of it as just like when you were little and you would take your crayons and you would outline everything with one color and then you would color it in. It's basically the same type of thing, but I'm using two different colors. Just using two different colors. This yellow ochre works really well over that canary yellow. See, look at that. How fun. And now let's see. My lightning bolts. Yep, the lightning bolts on his sleeve are actually going to be bright yellow. And I am going to use the light cerulean blue in his sleeve. And you can use any colors. You can color whatever way you want to. You're not stuck with my colors. You can use Crayolas, you can use Prismas, you can use Polychromo. I am not going to put the direct list of colors. This just happened to be the ones that I chose to use for my piece of artwork. You do not have to use the same colors. I'm listing them as I'm using them. So if you say, oh yeah, that kind of light blue color. It doesn't matter that it's cerulean blue, but it's a light blue. And then I am going to use dark green. And I'm going to put some dark green on this mountain here, because that's what I had in my hand. And I'm just sort of putting it on some of those edges. Just because. Just because. And then I'm going to kind of push it out lighter, but have it dark right around those valleys. This is very basic coloring, guys. I can do really detailed coloring, but this is not a design that requires detailed coloring. This is doodles that are just easygoing. You don't need to go in and spend 5 hours coloring this. This is one of those types of designs that is just so that you can play with your crayons or play with your colored pencils. You know, it's not something that you need to really stress over. I'm going to take some of that yellow ochre again. Just because. And I'm sort of mixing it into that dark green. But just because I had those light areas and I thought, that might be pretty. But it's not something that I'm stressed over. It's like, no biggie. Let's see here. This is going to be the sun kind of poking out through a cloud. We've got these this is a very funny weather pattern, okay, guys? This is not this isn't real weather. Very rare that you're going to have the bright sun with a thunder and lightning. It does happen. It does happen. I'm going to take my process red over this yellow that I put on here, and it's going to give me kind of an orangey color. Just because I didn't have an orange in my hand. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. And I'm doing this mostly with colors that I had in my original gem here, but not completely. I found other colors in my pencil case. And so now let's see here. Oh, what color should I do her flowers? I think her flowers are going to be this Perma Violet and the process red. So it's going to be sort of violet on the middle, like that, and like this. And then the process red on the ends, working back into that violet. My pencils really should be sharpened. I'm not going to worry about it, but they could be sharpened. And it would probably be easier to fit into some of the little spaces. Please sharpen your pencils if that makes you happy. I just don't want to have to get up and go sharpen pencils. So I'm not going to. I'm going to take this yellow onto the leaf of her that's with her flowers. Just like that. By taking the yellow onto the leaf to begin with, then when I take this dark green, I can go lightly on the front edge, and it makes it a bright green with that yellow highlight in there. And then I can go darker right in under the edge of the flowers to get that little shadow. Look at that. Looks like I worked really hard, but I didn't. It's just sometimes knowing the order that you put things down that makes a difference. That's all it is. It's the order you put things down. If I had put the green down first and then the yellow, it might not have left me any of these little bright highlights. And now I think, I actually think that these little bits coming out of this flower are going to be brown. But I think that these little circle dots coming off of the flower, they're going to be that process red, which is basically just a magenta. And then I think that these little flower circles are going to be colored like this, where I'm doing little spacing of the colors. I'm leaving white in them too. By leaving the white, it looks like there's highlights in the flower. It also makes it look like it could be rose petals as you're working your way around. Working your way around. And I'm going to do that with all of these flowers. All of these circles are going to turn into flowers. They're all turning into flowers. There we go. Look at that. just sweet, easy, no muss, no fuss. And she's basically done now too. I could do more. I could spend a lot more time, but I don't really want to. I want to get onto this little one. This little one here. And I know I said those were candy corns, but I don't think they are. I actually think that they are a type of flower petal. I think they're flower petals. And I'm going to use the blue, and I'm going to do kind of a stripe inside of those. Inside of those, the wider spot there. I am making this up as I go along, folks. I'm hoping that it turns out pretty. And then I am going to take this darker blue. I'm going to color that space in the middle, and then the whole thing down here. I don't know. I think that'll be pretty. And then we're going to use that violet as the centers. Remember, this is all doodling. This is just doodling. We're having fun. We're having fun. And then I think that the little flags over the top of her flower petals are going to be pink flags, like party flags. That's what that reminds me of right there. That reminds me of those party flags. And I think that those party flags are going to get a little bit of this purpley color too. Just along one edge. Just along one edge. And then we are going to take the dark blue, and it's going to be very, 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 very light. And I'm going to just sort of go in around some of these like that. Very, very, very light. I'm not pressing hard. I don't want to color out all of those pretty little dots that I put in there, but I want to give it a little bit of a background. Then we're going to get a bright yellow stripe. Because we can. Because we can. And then I think that these little walls are going to be yellow. Sunlight shining off of them. Glowing from her hair. Something like that. But then I'm going to take that light, light, light blue, and I'm going to color in those other sides. And you can just color right over the top of your little lines that you've drawn, if you decide that you were going to draw any of those little lines. And then I'm going to give her dark, 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 well, not dark blue, but a harder pressing of the blue. And she's going to have blue tie on her hair. And then I'm going to take the slightly darker blue, and I'm going to give her a little shadow on the bottom of her sleeve. Look at that. And then I think she's going to have a little shadow. I'm just going to color right over and around. I'm not coloring hard over those dots. If I leave a little bit of the dot, that's fine. So I want to take another color in, but it's going to be a slightly darker color. So even if I got blue into the dot, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fine. I'm going to take that violet and go and give it some violet dots. Give her some violet dots. You're turning violet. There we go. The top edge of this one is going, these sleeves is going to be that violet color. All right, so now what we do need a little bit of ground underneath of them, just so that they are not floating. You want to have a little bit of ground, something that they're resting on. I'm bringing it up just a smidge behind them, kind of coming across, I'm not being too worried about it. You know, if my lines are not perfect, that's okay. This is a doodle. I'm using the side of my pencil that's sharpened out pretty well to fill in the space. That way it covers the area more smoothly and you don't end up with all of those scribbly pencil marks. Although scribbly pencil marks might be exactly what you want. And now I'm putting a darker shadow just under the edge. Just under the edge of their little bodies. Just under the edge. Now, if you left sort of a light space and then did your shadow, it would look like they were floating above the ground. And that might have been exactly what you wanted. And if that's what it was, if it had been, awesome. I kind of want them attached to the ground. So that's why I did it this way. So there you go, guys. Let me put a little bit more. If you liked going with me on this little adventure of doodling and coloring, please click like. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this is something you want to do again. And if I get enough response, I might just do this again with a different doodle, of course. And if you are not already a subscriber, please click subscribe if you liked what we were doing so that you can be notified next time I have a video go up. And please share this video. If you like this video, please click like. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you want to see any more videos that were done like this. And if I get enough response that's positive, I will look at doing another video in the future that's a coloring video. As always, I would like you to go out and do something creative. Take care. Bye now. Area where light and dark kind of came together. A little bit there. And I think right up here, I'm really going to soften that out. But I don't want to contaminate that yellow, so push into that and then pull out. And now I'm over in that purpley color.